Good morning. Welcome to the University of New Hampshire and the Paul College. I want to turn things over to Voicey Digital Social Media Director, Alyssa Floyd, to introduce our morning.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see such a strong turnout this morning at the second session of the Social Media Marketing Symposium. My name is Alyssa Floyd, and I am Director of Social Media at Voicey Digital, as Tom just said. And we're putting on this fantastic session on the topic of TikTok and social this morning. We have some awesome speakers here today, Jacee, Jill, and Jason, who will be sharing their expertise with us. To start off, we'd like to introduce everybody to our organization, Voicey. As the name implies, we are a digital marketing agency that is completely student operated and overseen by our fantastic advisor, Mr. Tom Gruen. Our agency name and mission is centered around bringing the voice of Gen Z to our clients. We're a relatively new organization on campus, only around 2 years old, but we have served a total of 25 clients and counting. Our agency is broken up into different client teams of around 4 to 5 students each, and we work on evaluating and improving digital marketing strategies. This includes website design, SEO, social media, and content production. And most recently, our social team created our very own TikTok account, which leads us to the topic of today's first session. In order to fully understand the best methods for targeting consumers on TikTok from a brand standpoint, we must first look at the app from the consumer's point of view. As per the typical college student routine after a long day of classes, you climb into bed, check the TikTok app. Scrolling through videos, what types are most popular on your For You page? Is it a pug suggesting it's a no bones day? Christmas from decor with Michael Bublé in the background because you've been ready for Christmas since October? Is it a girl who graduated with a degree in design and redesigned some of the biggest company logos in the country? Relatability, humor, and trends are what we love to see and are most popular on our TikTok feeds. Moving on to how businesses use these tactics to draw in customers and promote their brand, a prime example is shown here by Chipotle. Andy, would you mind playing the video?
What's up, guys? I'm doing the Chipotle lid flip challenge. It's this easy. Wow, I didn't believe I got that.
Now, this is a pretty simple example, but Chipotle started this new trend and accompanying hashtag called the Chipotle lid flip, which encouraged people to go out, buy their product, and post a video of their own lid flips. They used David Dobrik as the main endorser for this trend, and the hashtag grew and took on a life of its own. This video in itself garnered over 350,000 likes, and this was pre-pandemic back in 2019. Our next brand is Dunkin', and in this TikTok, they demonstrated a different approach. Here's the video.
Starbucks, what can I get served for you?
Hi, yeah, I was actually wondering if you could maybe make something for someone who might have just got their heart broken.
Can you just get something off the menu?
Oh, okay.
So this stitched video went viral in showcasing the Starbucks workers' harsh approach in reaction to this poor guy's breakup. As you can see, Dunkin' took this as a prime opportunity to overshadow their competitor and promote their $2 drink special. Now, this last video is near and dear to my heart as the Voicey Digital Agency's debut into the world of TikTok.
I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything
In this video, we wanted to showcase the beginnings of our agency, and this, at the time, viral sound, which was a famous cover of the song Grace Kelly, was the perfect opportunity for just that. All of these videos demonstrate only some of the ways organizations capture and hold a Gen Z audience. Unlike other platforms, TikTok offers a unique and unprecedented opportunity for brands to showcase their personalities in a fun and innovative manner. And now I'd like to pass it off to our advisor, Mr. Tom Gruen, to go over our schedule of events and introduce our fantastic speakers.
Great. Thanks, Alyssa, and appreciate what a fun intro and way to get us started for the morning. First, I'd like to mention just a couple of things about for protocol. First, this session is presented by the college's Voicey Digital Marketing Agency, and we would also like to thank the Peter T. Paul Innovation Fund and Dean Merrill Sands for supporting this year's social media symposium. The symposium is providing 7 virtual sessions over 3 days, covering a broad swath of social media, and we're excited to present 2 of those sessions today. Before I introduce our first session, I want to briefly mention our Zoom protocols. If you wish to share a comment or make a question to the speakers publicly, you can put that into the chat. But if you want to offer a question to our speakers without showing it publicly, use the Q&A tool, which I'll be monitoring, and I'll feed your questions to the presenters if we have some time. And so now we move on to our first session, and it's on TikTok and how to make it work for retailers and brands to reach the Gen Z audience. I first met Jill and Jacee, our speakers, virtually at the NRF virtual Converge this summer, and was able to, they were more than willing to come and talk to our session today. So if we could go ahead and put Jill's slide up. Jill is the editor-in-chief of Glossy and explores transformation of fashion, luxury, and beauty in the retail industries through the lens of digital and technology. She oversees the editorial content and growth strategy of the media brand, which was launched in May of 2016. Jill joined Glossy from Mode Media, where she was editor of glam.com, starting in July 2015. Prior to that, she was editor of Sears Style and the head copywriter in Sears Apparel division. She spent the start of her career in St. Louis, where as the fashion editor of Alive magazine, the fashion director and co-founder of the St. Louis Fashion Week, and freelance fashion stylist working for brands including Anheuser-Busch and Caleres. Glossy is a media brand exploring how fashion, luxury, and beauty industries are being disrupted by digital media and technology. Again, launched in 2016, it examines how technology is upending established brands and retailers, giving rise to newcomers in these spaces. So Glossy reaches its audience through editorial content, newsletters, and the Glossy podcast. Be sure to visit glossy.co. Now on to Jacee. Jacee is the Senior Director of Brand Marketing at Hollister and has a laser focus on building customer-first brand strategies that authentically connect Hollister's core Gen Z demographic. Her efforts have led to relationships with partners that reach the teen customer in ways that are meaningful and relatable, and meeting Gen Z where they already spend their time with engaging and relevant content. Jacee's been with Hollister for the past 4 years, and she also has extensive experience working with other iconic brands, including Victoria's Secret and Abercrombie and Fitch. Jacee also lists on her LinkedIn page another role with Hollister, and that is a project chair of the Hollister Confidence Project. Not having heard of this, I looked into it and found that they produced a campaign to highlight teenage mental health titled Disrupting the Stigma, which I also noted just won a Shorty Award honoring social good on social media. So again, congratulations to Jacee and her team at Hollister for that, for those honors. And so I'm now turning it over to Jill and Jacee, and welcome.
Thank you so much. What an introduction.
I
Man.
know. Wow.
We could get used to this.
I know. I'm like, call me in anytime. I had to move locations.
Excited to talk to you, Jacee. Before
Hey,
we
you
jump in,
too.
I have to ask, you know what's in and out in TikTok. I mean, would you dare be posting skinny jeans, or is that way too chuggy?
I work with a lot of like really hip, cool people who I would post a pair of skinny jeans. I'm a little bit, it's still wearing those sometimes, but yeah, I don't think the people that work for me and run our accounts the way they do would. So I love your verbiage there, Jill. It's great.
I'm trying to be down with the TikTok group.
You can be.
Right on. Well, for everybody who doesn't know, let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
Hollister, the opportunity you saw on TikTok, did you get in early?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would like to say that we did. We'll get a little bit transparent here. We're amongst close friends, but it's really, really hard for brands to get everybody together, especially big brands, big corporate brands. It's hard for people to get everyone together on board, supportive of the content, approving your plan, and live into a new kind of ecosystem you haven't been before, especially on social. It's very scary. When we launched into TikTok for Hollister, we actually did it like in secret through an account called Tiny Jeans. And I don't know if anyone has seen Tiny Jeans or any of its content, but we kind of went like behind everybody's back, had this idea. I think I have a pair somewhere, but made these little jeans for our hands. And we like had this account that we danced with Tiny Jeans. And we had our like second post go viral with over like 15 million views. And we had to go to leadership and say like, look what we did. And that was, pre-pandemic almost. So, we're talking like end of 2019 when a lot of brands kind of weren't on the platform yet. And some of our favorite creators were still, living in their original hometowns and not quite the names we know today. So I would like to say we were there, but, I guess it's up to other people's opinion.
Yes. Well, amazing that you had that post go viral out of the gate. Is there, this is the big question, like, is there a secret to sending something viral? What was it about that post? And how do you lean into that? Let's talk about viral posts.
Yes. Alyssa mentioned some of right now our most favorite viral TikToks. I check to see if it's a Bones day or not every day. I am like guided by Noodle, the pug. I feel that. But going viral is tough. And you know what? We talk a lot about it here. Like, is there a secret sauce? And the answer is probably a little bit yes. And also like a lot of luck. When we think about our favorite products or, I'm going to refer to not like people or funny things, but like, products, brands, things that people use. When we look at what goes viral, and we talked a little bit about this in our NRF session that Tom mentioned, but it really is distinction. And specifically products, it is something that provides a benefit that the consumer either knew they needed and were looking for, or had no clue they needed, but it makes something like so much easier, so much better, look greater, whatever it is. And we've all seen those products, whether it's like all of the mascara or the leggings or the overnight heatless curlers or whatever else. But so I think it's like product distinction and benefit. And then it's the recipe of like making sure you're creating great content with trending sounds, with the right people, getting it out there, being a little weird and disruptive. So yeah, there is a secret sauce, but I guess that only works for part of it. The rest is, Mercury being out of retrograde and it being a Bones day, and maybe we have a shot at it.
Right on. Well, you mentioned some of those other viral posts that maybe Hollister did not put out there and you did not steer, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you tap into, whether it's with a hashtag, whether you're on a skateboard with, I don't
Yeah.
know, what's the juice? Anyway, what do you get on board?
Yeah. It's interesting as a brand. Again, there's a lot that goes into creating the content that brands put out on TikTok. And every brand kind of has their own unique way of ideation on TikTok to evaluating it, seeing what worked and what didn't, and moving on to the next piece of content. It's very strategic, formulaic. And the bigger the company gets, in my experience, the harder it is to get content out there. For us, we have like a set of guardrails that, we never want to sacrifice our brand or who we are, the tone, the sound, what we stand for a viral trend. But if it makes sense and the spirit is in our kind of wheelhouse and we love kind of what it's standing for, we'll jump on. Recently, we duetted John and his pug Noodle. I'm going to talk about this, Alyssa. Thank you all day. And we made him a bunch of merch that said like Bones Day or No Bones Day because he had requested merch. So we literally like got a bunch of t-shirts and sweatshirts, went into we have like an IDC, like a product place here, and created a bunch of product and made a TikTok about it. And we were like, please respond. We have stuff for you. And that one did really well for us. So yeah, it's about knowing your brand, knowing what's authentic for you, what your consumer is going to appreciate, and seeing how you can make it work.
For sure. Well, when you presented the idea of going onto TikTok to the rest of the company, were the concerns about, moving from maybe a polished look and feel on Instagram to this kind of raw, off the cuff tone and voice? What were the concerns? And is that true? It's more polished on other channels.
Yes. It is true. Content on social inside of brands or corporations is, I think, probably the hardest thing to get right. And the brands that do get it right, it's like, for me, sitting inside of here, very impressive. Yeah, I mean, TikTok talks about it a lot. You have spoken with TikTok a lot about this. Like, you make TikToks, not advertisements. And that is one of their like golden rules of being on the platform. Nobody on the platform wants to see, a commercial that they would see on TV or anywhere else that, like you said, is really polished. So a lot of it is giving up control, but also having a very firm grasp on like who you are and what your like brand guardrails are. We still today are, with every one we post and with every new idea and with every kind of piece of content we come up with, we still are figuring out the secret kind of like fine line between over polished ad and like very raw take at the brand via like a very trend forward TikTok. Getting onto the platform, is relatively easy in terms of like convincing leadership. You have 1 billion users, over 60% of them fall within our demographic. And so when it comes to making sure your brand is present where your consumer is spending a ton of time, like, massive rule of brand marketing and marketing in general, it's a little bit of a no-brainer. And then you just try and stand out in any way you can when you're on there. So I think content is something that brands are still figuring out. And I'll tell you, with every piece of content that brands post, there's a bit of a learning and hindsight and like what to do next time going into it.
Yeah. So meeting the customer where they are. I hear that time and time again. Do you put the control in influencers' hands more often than not? Are you leaning on them to create the content to relate to the audience? Somebody who is Gen Z, or how would you describe that balance?
Yeah, no, that's a really excellent question, because influencers are a critical part of the platform. I think they're a critical part to any platform, but this one in general, when we think about the ecosystem of social, this one sits very top of funnel. You don't need to be following anyone. You don't need to like be a hand raiser. You get content and you can discover new things, new brands, new trends, new music, new people every single day on the platform. And influencers is a key part of what drives and like fuels that discovery. And one of the reasons why we like it so much. The answer to your question is yes, we do a lot. I would say our approach to TikTok is multi-pronged. We have an incredible influencer program that is posting content for us regularly. They are partners of us and we love having them in our fam. And we have spent a lot of time with them on who Hollister or Gilly Hicks or Social Tourist is as brands, and then how they marry best that with their like authentic style, authentic tone, authentic piece of who they are, because we want this to be like a very authentic piece of content. So yeah, we give up control a lot and back to kind of like doing well on the platform. That's part of the recipe that I think makes brands successful.
Yes, you mentioned Social Tourists. Like if Charlie or Dixie or I don't know, Addison, if they're wearing your jeans, is that, or if they even use your hashtag, like, is that a like, oh, we did it. Like, does that work wonders, I guess, to really drive traffic and to drive sales?
Yeah, I mean, we started partnering Hollister with Charlie and Dixie in July of 2020. And we launched our first campaign with them, which was really under the Hollister umbrella, all around our denim. And then we worked with them through holiday and we did a really amazing like gifting and outerwear campaign with them. And that brand, for those that aren't familiar, is a brand that we essentially were like, you all have been incredible. They are incredible people, an incredible family. And, you know, really had an audience and a, you know, kind of a presence that resonated with our consumer incredibly well. And we started seeing this across several business metrics, right? And so we sat down with them at the end of 2020 and we said, what next? And they were like, we want to make our own brand. And we were like, well, we know how to do that. And so we did, and we stood up Social Tourist. And there's a lot of benefits that come with somebody like a Charlie or Dixie or an Addison, like you said, sharing your product. But I think, you know, what holds true for them at 100+ million followers, that holds true for, you know, people with 100,000 followers, is it has to be believable and authentic and integrated and consumer centric for it to work. And if it's not any of those things, you probably won't see the benefit anywhere in your business. And so all of those things existed with them. And we're very like lucky and excited to have them as part of our family here.
Yeah. How many hands are in the mix in terms of your TikTok strategy and carrying it out and working with influencers? Like, how large of a team is working on this on the daily?
That's such a great question that I think is, I don't, Jill, you talk to a lot of companies about this, and you get to speak to a lot of people about this. I think it varies by business, but my team specifically is 5 people big, and that's across all 3 of my brands. And so I oversee Hollister, I oversee Social Tourist, which we just talked about, and then I also oversee a brand called Gilly Hicks, which is an intimates brand that is, we just relaunched after about, you know, a handful of years kind of dormant, but very cool brand. But there's 5 of them that run all of our social footprint across the 3 brands, which is fun and exciting. And they like work hard, play hard, you know. Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
yeah they show up every day, and I'm thankful for them every day. They are, I mean, they're the team that keeps me not wearing skinny jeans, Jill. You know,
We need these people in our lives.
we do. We should all be surrounded by a team of social media experts, honestly.
True story. Is there a happy place or a rule of thumb in terms of how often you should be posting or reposting or how, I mean, does it just vary by platform, but in TikTok specifically?
Oh my gosh. You know, that is such a good debate that I think exists out there on TikTok. One, in order for you to have your best shot, right? In order for you to really like land on the For You page and have your content out there and start to kind of get into the algorithm and get more reach at the top of that funnel, like we were talking about. Frequency is a part of that. Do we know all the answers? I don't really know if we have the right formula, if once a day matters or 3 times a week matters. I will say, like, you know, part of it when you get to a large business, large corporation is resources and what you can like get out there. So that's like a real thing that in the real world, when you start working, you want to do always more. So that plays a part of it, but we do know that frequency is a part of the sauce. We just can't, you know, put our finger on what that is. So it's another thing we're constantly testing on social. Is there a rhyme or reason? Yeah.
Totally. Well, how would you describe TikTok placement in your overall like marketing mix? Is it, I'm sure it's gaining importance or attention. What other channels are you focused on now?
Yeah. We love TikTok. TikTok is kind of like our favorite social platform to be on in terms of like creativity and content and reach and discovery and all of that. And when you know, I'm going to come back to the funnel a bit here, but when you think about the ecosystem of social, it kind of sits at the top. Like you can talk to all 1 billion of them essentially. When you start getting down into the other platforms, they kind of come down in your funnel, right? They have to be following you for them to see your content, and we're, you know, focused on growing those audiences and things like that. But of course, Instagram, major love for us. We love our friends at Snapchat. We're getting into Pinterest, which is fun. Twitter is a good one and is gaining a little bit of steam for us on a couple of our brands. But we try to have a pretty balanced footprint out there. You know, the other kind of key component to showing up on social is understanding what role each platform plays in your portfolio of platforms. So every role kind of has a reason for being, and we try and stick to that as well, which helps us keep it organized and keep content relevant and unique. So, you know, our team is there. So we, again, golden rule, be where your consumer is at. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, if there another platform pops up, you'll have to do some hiring.
Yeah. Yes.
Man.
I might be reaching out. So if you know anybody, or there's like, how many people on this call? 60?
Yes. Hello.
Stay tuned. Yes. Hi.
Would you say organic versus paid content? What's the balance there?
Yeah. I mean, organic is obviously sits on my team. So I have like this incredible appreciation and, you know, belief in a like killer organic strategy. The reality is paid gets great ideas in front of a lot of people. And, you know, for those kind of like unfamiliar with like the paid world inside of social, there's ways to boost your organic content or paid content or whatever to audiences on the platform that aren't hand raisers or aren't seeing your content. Like I believe as many companies do, right? Our paid and our organic teams work extremely closely together to make sure we're like optimizing the best content, where we are promoting and pushing things that are already working. We are always developing content across both teams that is going to drive business, drive the most reach. So I would say like the best piece there is when those teams are working together and developing strategies that complement each other and in the brand.
That makes sense. Am I right that you have 220,000 followers on TikTok?
Yeah, we're growing. Yes. I mean, I think we have like 630 for Social Tourist, just over 200 for Hollister. And then our Tiny Jeans account has like 650,000 that
Oh, for crying out loud.
yeah, we need to figure out what to do with them.
Yes.
You know,
What do you
the Tiny Jeans are no longer, except for I should bring them back out because I like it. They're fun.
I mean, show and tell, bring them out.
I know.
Bring it
I'm
out.
like looking for them at my desk somewhere. I can't find them.
Well, what do you know about those followers? Is there in
Yeah.
terms of how they overlap with your customer, in terms of their demo? Are they Gen Z? Are they more girls than guys? Who are they?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, your followership makes up obviously a lot of how you think about your strategy. And so at Hollister, you know, we do have everything we do is for the global high school team. And so that is a lot of our following. You know, we like to see that 13 to 24 on our social. And it's a pretty even split outside of that, which is great. So we can talk about just about anything on our social. I think the key is we keep coming back to content, but the thing we keep in mind of our followers is like, how are they engaging with the things we're putting out? How do we keep them engaging? And then how do we take them and love up on them a little bit more to deepen that relationship? So, you know, we have a very wide, healthy mix of people on our social channels, but it's also about like bringing them closer to you and tailoring what you do to do that, which is fun. The community part is one of the best parts. Yeah.
Nice. Well, you mentioned top of funnel, so I'm not sure the answer to this next one, but in terms of taking advantage of like the live shopping and some of these direct shopping tools, have you dabbled in that? Are you taking advantage of that?
Yes, we love live shopping. It's relatively like a new muscle for a lot of brands out there in terms of like on these platforms and the new kind of commerce capabilities that the platforms are rolling out. We actually did a really incredible live fashion show for our Social Tourist brand when we dropped our first kind of fashion collection. And we did it off of Charlie D'Amelio's handle. And had over like 1.3 million viewers on the show, on the live, which is insane. Like it beats out some of those like the weekend concerts and things like that they've had on the platform, which is awesome. So yeah, we're into it, and we're trying ways to have like really awesome produced pieces as well as like really like lower lift, like a stylist and an influencer, like styling you for back to school and going through racks and kind of shopping the clothes that way. So I would say like our approach is just getting started, but we're having a lot of fun figuring out that formula as well across all the platforms as they roll it out. So, you know, lower funnel is more and more becoming a part of how you think about your social presence. Yeah.
Let's dig into like a specific strategy. Don't have a ton of time, but like say we are say back to school, like you're back to school, you have your campaign, it's on maybe TV, it's on Instagram. What does that campaign look like or that moment look like on TikTok?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we are planning campaigns, we really, work hard to make it very integrated. As I mentioned before, all of your platforms serve a purpose and a role, and you understand who your consumer is, what people are there for. On TikTok specifically, back to school for us is all about denim. This past year, we launched a campaign, Jeans Are Back, Baby, and So Are You. And it was always all about like getting back into denim, styling it for the first time in a while, going back to school, like the whole thing. And the campaign on TikTok looked pretty similar to where it did everywhere else, but with content back to the storyline back to kind of how the platform works and performs. So influencers doing really cool like styling videos with our jeans for the first time, an incredible like brand video that was TikTok centric, to help kind of like launch the message, and then like an ongoing presence of like tapping into new trends, showing denim and rinse and repeating that. And so, you know, the idea of like campaign for us is always very integrated, and we look at TikTok and say like, what is the role that channel can play in the singular message we're trying to get out? So tons of content, tons of influencers, like leaning into styling and transitions and fits, and we put out like I think one piece of content every day for 60 days or something in back to school this year. So really fun, back to testing your frequency piece, but yeah, really fun stuff.
That sounds so fun. So tell me, we're talking Gen Z. We know that there's supposed, I don't know what values, like now I'm hearing conflicting things about in terms of what they shop, what they don't shop. But anyway, we know inclusivity, authenticity. We know, even values driven. Anyway, what can you tell me about how you're tapping into the Gen Z mindset, how you're saying, you know, you can feel good shopping with us, other than just, being authentic and putting out content that feels like them, something they might post?
It's such a great question. So for us, and I talk about this a lot, is we, no matter what we're doing, we start with putting the consumer at the center of what we're doing. So there's always whether it's denim or whether it's outerwear or whether it's the Confidence Project or World Teen Mental Wellness Day or Pride, whatever it is. We really look to them to say like, how can we come in and provide a mutual benefit to you as you do to us? Are we fulfilling like a need? Did we show up in the right way? Are you telling us something that we can provide you? And I think, you know, when all of those things, those kind of table stake insights we know about Gen Z are all nuanced based on what you're talking to them about. So like for denim, you're exactly right. Like we heard time and time again, like comfortable makes me confident, and like I forget how to like wear them. And so like that is what we developed a campaign around. And then that campaign starts to take on like legs and more legs and more legs back to a central consumer insight need, and one that we can like fulfill pretty authentically and seamlessly. And so we kind of get after it like that with everything we do, whether it's gaming or TikTok or whatever. So putting the consumer at the center of what you do is kind of how we survive and hopefully thrive a lot of times here.
Yes. Speaking of thriving, what does success look like for you on TikTok? Is it about sales? Is it about followers? Is it about views? How would you sum it up?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like not so sexy, you know, metrics. What we report on, right, is like, engagement, followers, how did it do? I tell my team all the time, you know, a lot of it is about feeling proud about the content you work on every day. And are you proud to run these channels? And do you get excited like thinking about stuff? And a really like motivated, excited team puts out great content and great work. And so like that for me as a leader is a lot of the success. I would also say like there's just this general like, did it land? I don't know. It's a weird kind of, you know, you can kind of see that engagement. You can see it in consumer comments, sentiment. But is your content like landing and resonating with the audience base it was intended for? It might not always go viral. And you know, you'll have your ups and downs, but did it like land and hit a chord with people? And are you proud of it? And that hopefully leads to great engagement, you know, and great numbers that we can take back.
For sure. Do you need to be Obsessed. I hear that either you're in
Yeah.
TikTok or you're not. Like you can't take a couple
my
days
gosh.
off. You won't be able to speak the language.
I say yes. Yes. We talked about this too in our interrupt. Like, you know when you talk to people who's on TikTok and who is not, and culture is happening on TikTok at the speed of light. Your For You page refreshes quicker, than anything else. And so, yeah, and it's quick too. A lot of it is very fast. So that's a great tip. Be obsessed. Like it's fun, and hopefully you don't feel like your mind is melting every day.
Totally. I think we are so out of time, but one more question if I can sneak it in.
Yes.
Be obsessed. Maybe sneak your first post, but like for a brand that's like maybe training wheels or late in the game and getting onto TikTok, any final words of advice to say, do this?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot, and I would say it is very intimidating. Like I remember when Snapchat came out and we launched on that platform, also very intimidating. The content is very different. It's very unique. You kind of feel like you need to get it right. And your first post, like just do it, come up with something and just do it. And, if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, you have a new shot at it tomorrow or the next day. But just kind of getting out there and doing it and getting over that barrier is the best piece of advice I can give.
Right on. Just do it. You're so Nike.
Just do it. I know. Just do it. Just post it. Post it.
I love it. Well, Jacee, thank you so much. This was awesome. So good to chat. Good to see you.
You too. I know. Take care.
You
Tom,
too.
thank you. Alyssa.
Yeah, and great. And thank you. Thank both of you. We had a couple questions on the chat, but I know that we're running out of time for you. And I know that you're giving it. Thank you for giving us your hour this morning. Jacee, if you have time for one quick one, there was a question from a student who asked, how do you become a brand ambassador?
Oh, yes. It's like my favorite program here. You can actually apply. We have applications once a year. We just closed this year, but to be an official brand ambassador, we do have like an application process. And I'll be happy to send Tom links for that as we come back around. But it's a really incredible program where, we find the cultures and the culture makers, the movers, the shakers across the country, and we do some pretty fun things together.
Okay. And Jill, you asked all the questions, but if I could just ask you one quick one. I noticed that you are going to be again speaking at National Retail Federation in January, and another session on TikTok featuring a couple of other brands, big brands that everyone would know, American Eagle and Target. Do you want to give us any preview?
Oh gosh, no, I don't know much, but I will tell you that, American Eagle is doing great things as well. I just know, definitely one that's leaning into moments and taking advantage of these, I would say, mega influencers on TikTok who we never heard about 2 years ago. And so definitely want to hear from them, and definitely want to hear about who's taking advantage of live streaming and how. We just see so much potential compared to what's happening in the Asian market for this to take off in the US. It hasn't quite taken off, but definitely brands are dabbling in live streaming opportunities across channels, whether it's a new platform or a social platform.
Great. Any other last comments or things about from Glossy that you, from your perspective as the editor at Glossy?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's such a hot topic, TikTok, and what's happening on platforms now. It's just everything is moving so fast. So we're a B2B publication. We just launched kind of a sub brand or a category called Glossy Pop. And it's all about what's happening on platforms, pop culture. Really the trends that are emerging on TikTok is a big focus, fashion, beauty brands, and the influencers to know right now. So it's really fun. Check that out. And follow us.
Great. Well, again, thank you very much. I know you're probably both getting ready for your next series of meetings, but I sure appreciate you taking your time out this morning and being part of our symposium. And again, just a big thank you from all of us here at UNH and the Paul College.
Thanks
So
for having
fun.
us.
All right, thank you.
so much. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
All right, all right.